Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be using a new alcohol ink technique to create this tumbler. Let's go. I got this idea from a TikTok, so before we start, I want to show you the original video so you can kind of get an idea of what we're going for. We're not doing this exact technique with the really blown out colors, but this is where I got the idea for this design. So in the original video, she really douses her cup with rubbing alcohol. I'm just going to spritz a little bit of rubbing alcohol from my spray bottle onto my cup, and when I drop my inks, they're going to kind of hold up on their own a little bit more than they would if we had more alcohol. The more alcohol you have, the more your inks will blend into each other. So that's a good rule when you're trying this technique for yourself. The more alcohol, the more blended and dispersed your color will be. The first ink color that I'm taking is Religion from PDB Creative Studio. I'm just gonna drop this in different sections around the cup. And as you can see, as I drop the colors down, they are moving and blending, but they're not totally just blowing out and blending with each other because we don't have a ton of alcohol on our cup. And as I add more colors, they're gonna start to blend together and create a really cool effect while still maintaining that kind of stripy nature that we want. So I'm just gonna layer these on top of each other and let the inks do their thing. Once all the ink is laid down, I'm going to go in with my heat gun and just make sure that everything is really dry. I'm not trying to create a whole lot of movement here like we would with alcohol inks and epoxy. I'm just trying to get everything to dry a little bit more quickly. After this turned for a bit, I decided I wanted to go back in and do another layer of the inks. I just didn't really love how this looked. Looking back on it, on camera it looks pretty good, but in person I decided I wanted to do another layer. So I just added more alcohol and then added more alcohol ink and repeated the exact same process. I laid all my inks down and then I went in with my heat gun to dry everything out really quickly. I let the inks dry and spin for a full 24 hours before I went on to my next step. And this part, along with sealing, is really important to make sure that everything stays correctly and that it doesn't get messed up when you add epoxy. I used Quick Coat from CCDIY to seal my inks, but you can also use Kramer varnish to seal as well. Both work just fine. I'm applying the Quick Coat really carefully. I'm going horizontally along with those stripes just in case anything smears. I don't want it to smear upward and then ruin the pattern. So I'm applying my Quick Coat in the pattern and the flow of the inks on the cup. I let the Quick Coat dry for about an hour and then I went in with my first coat of epoxy. I'm using the Fast Set epoxy from CCDIY and I have a full cup of 30 milliliters of epoxy, but I really only used maybe like 15 on this cup. I did a really thin first layer just to make sure that those inks were sealed and we were ready to move on to the glitter. Okay, our first layer of epoxy has cured, so now it's time to apply our glitter using the epoxy method. I'm taking Fast Set epoxy once again, and I'm applying a super thin layer just to that bottom half of the cup. And then I'm going to take Sasha Fierce from PDB Creative Studio, and I'm going to create a waterfall effect up from the bottom. So I'm applying first just to that bottom rim and the bottom of the cup. So I'm holding my cup pretty horizontal and then covering the bottom and really making sure that that bottom rim is covered. And then I'm gonna hold my cup at a pretty steep angle so I can create a waterfall. So this is the same technique as if you were doing an ombre, you're just not adding a color to the top. So along with the steep angle, I'm holding my shaker way high, like above my head, to create a really light kind of just rainfall of glitter so that it falls pretty lightly up the cup. We want to really focus a lot of the color on the bottom, but we do want a few little flecks of glitter to creep up and create that waterfall effect. Just think of this as a one-way fade. So here's what we've got. I'm going to let this dry for 4 hours, and then I'm going to go in with another coat of Fast Set from CCDIY. This coat I'm applying a lot. I'm going to apply probably a full 25 milliliters, and I'm starting at the top of the cup, sealing the area that doesn't have the glitter first, and then working my way down so that all of that glitter doesn't just migrate up to the top and ruin our waterfall fade. I decided to go with kind of a floral theme for this cup, so I'm using a decal that says "Love Grows Here," and I will have the link for where I purchased this file in the description box below. So I'm just taking the decal and I'm gonna layer it on a green offset to make this chrome vinyl pop just a little bit more. So to layer, I'm just eyeballing it. Usually I would use parchment paper to help me get this lined up perfectly, but this was a pretty small decal and it was pretty easy to line up because it was a circle. So here's what it looks like, and I'm just gonna find a place on my cup to place it. And I wanna keep this decal at the upper half of the cup, so I'm just gonna put it right above where the glitter ends. And I'm not doing any special application or anything, just laying it down, making sure there aren't any creases or bubbles, and then carefully pulling back my transfer tape to prevent any bubbles that might arise from that. I'm also going to add a few different floral line art decals. I will have the link for where I got these files in the description as well. I'm using the same sunset pink chrome vinyl that I used for the main part of the decal, and I'm just gonna apply these sporadically around the cup just to add a little bit of floral detail and dimension to make the cup a little bit more interesting. Okay, here's what we've got with our floral decals all laid down. I really like how this cup is coming together. I think the flowers add a lot of dimension and fun. So what we're going to do next is seal those decals to make sure that they don't lift under epoxy or bubble or anything like that. Chrome, metallic, specialty vinyls like that are notorious for lifting and bubbling under epoxy, and sealing them helps prevent that from happening. You don't have to use quick coat to seal your decals. You can use polyacrylic or even just clear spray paint. I just like quick coat the best because it dries and gives me the best finish for going right into epoxy. Speaking of going right into epoxy, I let my quick coat dry about 25 minutes and then I went in with my final coats of epoxy. For my final coats, I'm using medium viscosity artist resin from CC DIY. I did 2 final coats of about 25 milliliters each. Once those coats were cured, we were all done. This alcoholing technique was so much fun to do. It has been really popular lately, so hopefully this helps you in trying it for yourself. I can't wait to see all of the designs that you come up with. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you are not already. It really helps us out and we are so appreciative and thankful that you are all here. Thanks again for watching and we will see you in our next video. See you later. Bye.